to Hustle Skirt Podcast, the show that brings you economic equity for everyone, every day, with your host, Debra Washington Gould. I am Debra Washington Gould, President and CEO of Debra Gould and Associate Inc., a New Orleans-based company founded in 1996, and I provide management consulting and performance management service. So y'all check me out on my website, www.gouldassoc.com, to learn more about Debra Gould and Associate Inc. professional service offering in training, facilitating, keynoting, management consulting, and executive coaching. Let me just share you some information about Hustle Skirt Podcast. The concept focuses on the entrepreneurial mindset. It's about women, and they're sharing interesting interviews as it relates to businesses, business advocates, business leaders, community leaders, nonprofit, and for-profit. And let me tell you, I am so excited about my guest today because we're going to keep it real and we are for profit. So you're going to hear how to connect with my guest today, Nancy J. Lewis. But let me just say this much to my guests. When I interview you, I simply say, let's have fun. Boot up, get fired up, united, and bring your energy, your enthusiasm, and your excitement. Because after all, I, the host of Hustle Skirt, I want to celebrate you, appreciate you, empower you, and celebrate what's unique about you. This will be an open opportunity. As I interview each of my guests, I like to share with you. I want you to connect with Hustle Skirt podcast listeners. This is your open market. So tell it all. Let us know how can we best support you. Remember, my theme is economic equity for everyone, every day. So when we speak of equity, this is my way of introducing this phenomenal woman, Nancy Lewis. So we're going to say, how can we connect her market as it relates to being a resourceful person for you as it relates to equity for everyone. So right now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Nancy J. Lewis, is the president of Progressive Techniques, Inc., based in Metro Atlanta, hot Atlanta. Her tagline, developing a better you. Welcome, Nancy, to Hustle Skirt Podcast today.
Thank you, Debra, for having me on your podcast. I appreciate it.
Okay, Nancy, it's always a pleasure to connect with you, but I want our listening audience to know. Now, I just gave to you her credential, but you see this woman here? We have a lot of history, 30 plus years.
Yes.
We are co-authors of several books. She is a minister. Nancy is a phenomenal, high, top-notch keynote speaker that is often sought out in the Atlanta, nationally, and anywhere you get to hear this woman, purchase one of her books, you hear the name Nancy J. Lewis, you need to be in that line getting her autograph. She's all of that. But our history is one of friendship, kindness. She has been there for me. As we, as entrepreneurs, in our path forward, it's about surviving and thriving. And this person here, I can call Nan anytime as part of my support system. So you got to hear the true credential, but the authentic person that I know is Nancy J. Lewis. So are you guys ready to listen to this phenomenal woman? So Nancy, I like to open up with, Equity and equality, the importance of defining equality and equity are different concepts and different thought processes. So when you hear the word equity, can you describe one word that comes up for you when you hear equity?
Access. Access.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. So framing equality. Have you ever had to handle a situation in your business with a team member was not accepting of another team member background? Because your work you have a big range in terms of what you do in your conferences, your private and public sector clients. Have you ever experienced that in terms where you had to check someone?
Well, I think I've had to check people in terms of just helping them realize you come to the workplace and you come to work on a team. Getting friends is a byproduct to do your job. It's not a requirement for you to get the job done. So I tell people it's about how do we relate to each other professionally, getting the job done. If you get friendship on the side and all that, that's great. But I want you to focus on civility and respect no matter what. That's what everyone deserves. And that's what everyone's going to have on my teams.
I told you all she's going to bring it. So framing equity. What are human capital factors in the world of entrepreneurship that impact economic equity? There was a key word you said earlier, but say some more on that.
I think access to some of the points behind your empowerment. I think the leveraging and having the playing field being level by making sure that what you have, if you need 3 steps to get to look over the fence, I'm going to give you 3 steps. If you need 5, I'm going to give you 5. It's giving you what you need to have access to what's available to you.
Excellent, excellent. So here's a general question I would like to ask. What's the story behind your business aspiration?
I think the story behind my business aspiration is simply I wanted to impact lives, to help people realize that there's greatness inside of them. I want to help tap it out because sometimes people don't see the greatness inside of themselves. I tell people, you can't see the frame when you're in the picture. I can see it all. So I'm able to pull things out of people, and to be able to pull things out of people to help them step into their greatness and what God has called them to do is just so rewarding.
Oh, I like that response, Nancy. And I hope whoever our guest who's listening that they receive so much value just what you shared. Okay, here's 2 specific questions. What have been some of your biggest learning experiences in running a business?
The first lesson I always have to share that was at the very beginning is that when you're an entrepreneur, the one thing you do not need to seek counsel from is from people who have a 9-to-5. It's nothing personal. It's nothing against them. But until you can walk the walk by faith, because the entrepreneur journey is faith. And so I remember early on when I was starting out, I talked to some of my friends who had a 9-to-5 when things were getting tough. And they said, get a job. I wanted them to encourage me. So I realized it was no fault of their own. But if you've not walked that walk, you don't know what it's like to walk by faith. So I just realized if you're an entrepreneur, seek entrepreneurial consultation, not someone who has a 9-to-5. That's the first lesson I learned.
Ooh, that was a good golden nugget there. Is there anything else you'd like to share on what has been some of the biggest learning experiences in running a business?
It's to align yourself with people that are like-minded, people who think like eagles. You have to realize sometimes you outgrow people. They're in your life for a season. Be okay moving on to a new season with new people that will help you go higher. Realize you don't have to do it all. You need to have people that are in your network who can do some of the things that you don't do well. Thinking back to when we did our first book, you're very detailed, analytical, very pragmatic. I'm kind of the other side. We were a good mix because we complemented each other.
You always remind me of that, Nan. Really, to my audience, she really does.
It's a wonderful thing.
It's a wonderful compliment.
Yep.
So one more question for you, Nancy. What will you say are your greatest strengths?
I said this first, my faith in God. As a minister, my faith in God, knowing that with God, all things are possible. There's nothing I can't do with God on my side. So my faith in God and knowing that even when I'm going through a storm, God is there with me in the storm. I know I'm going to come out. Second is my confidence to not quit. I'm sometimes going to stick with it until it becomes resolved. So the confidence, the ability to have presence in terms of when I come into a room is people tell me I have a commanding presence to be able to step in and to be able to get people to listen to me and to heed to what I say. So those are some things in terms of integrity. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I want to do it. So those are some things that I think are strengths for me in terms of, if you don't want to know the truth, don't ask me. I know I've learned how to season it now and put some sugar and stuff in it, but I'm going to tell you the real deal because I'm going to keep it real for you. I'm going to keep it 100.
And really, she keep it real. And she's very honest and sincere when she said she has a presence when she walk into the room. When she step into the room, y'all, she bringing the show. Okay, Nancy is network queen. She will network and connect with folks in that room, and I love that about her. So, Nancy, we've talked about your business and some lessons learned and different experiences that you have had in the business, as well as your greatest strength. I would like to have you take a moment or two to share with our audience a mindful moment. We've heard all these great things that Nancy J. Lewis, the president and CEO of Progressive Technique Inc. Here's a mindful moment that how can we reach you?
Well, you can reach me. I'm on LinkedIn actively, and that's Nancy J. Lewis, Lewis, Nancy J. Lewis. You can email me at nancy@progressivetechniquesinc.com or go to my website, www.progressivetechniques, and techniques is spelled TECHNIQUESINC.com. So it's Nancy@progressivetechniquesinc.com is the email address. www.progressivetechniquesinc.com is the website. And so you can find me there. And I'm on LinkedIn all the time. On Instagram too as Queen of Networking, but I'm really on LinkedIn. I work LinkedIn.
Would you just tell us one more time that website for them to connect with you and follow you on your LinkedIn, but share your website again, because I'm pretty certain all that information is on your website.
It's www.progressivetechniquesinc.com. So it's Nancy at Progressive, PROGRESSIVETechniquesinc.com.
Nancy, thank you for sharing such a resource around the mindful moment. Now, you just recently celebrated, was that Friday, March 24th, your 15th Transforming Women Entrepreneurs, TWE.
Yes.
Take a moment to share that experience, or will that information be provided on your LinkedIn to give folks a snapshot of that experience so that if they would like to come to the 16th TWE, is there a website that they can also visit?
Yes. So TWE on March 16th, we celebrated 15 years of doing a glorious event. We called it Radiant, Regal, Refined, Resilient Women Reinventing the Business World. It was amazing. It was a God event. It was epic. That's all I can say. So we empower women. I have women who come and speak and share their stories from mental health to finances to the life as an entrepreneur. It is the holistic perspective. And so you can go to the website and see more about it because we do have the pictures posted, or they will be posted, www.tweus.com. That's www.tweus.com. And you can see all about what we've been doing over the years. It's just it's a God event. So I look forward to year 16. I look forward to it.
Well, Nan, it's always my pleasure to hang out with my BFF.
Amen.
As we close out the show, I'd like my listening audience to know that my guest today is Nancy J. Lewis, President and CEO of Progressive Technique Inc. As I close out the show today, again, Hustle Skirt objective is to empower you to speak power, embrace change in your own vision, mission, purpose, and get fired up with passion about whether you are a starting entrepreneur or an existing business. That is why I'm bringing some dynamic women in front of you who have been a positive influential woman in their business community. Just want you to do this for me. Make sure to visit our website at www.persistentlane.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Player FM, Podchaser, and Podbean apps. So you will never miss a show, and especially the one on today with my guest, Nancy J. Lewis. While you're at it, if you found this interview with Nancy, that's something you appreciated today, I would certainly appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you just tell a friend about Hustle Skirt Podcasts. You're listening to the Hustle Skirt Podcast, the show that brings you economic equity for everyone every day with your host, Debra Washington Gould. Until we meet again, make yourself a great day on purpose. And again, thank you, Nancy J. Lewis, for being my guest today on Hustle Skirt.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.
Bye.
See y'all. Bye-bye.